Good morning, students, and welcome to another online physical science class. Today, I am continuing matter, the last part of matter. So, let's start. Today's discussion topic: elasticity, stress and strain, Hooke's law, modulus of elasticity, longitudinal stress and strain, Young's modulus, elasticity in daily life, and behavior of materials beyond elastic limit. So, what is elasticity? In physics and materials science, elasticity is the ability of a body to resist a distorting influence and to return to its original size and shape when that influence or force is removed. So, elasticity is the ability of an object or material to resume its normal shape after being stretched or compressed. See the diagram. You'll understand when we are stretching a rubber band, it is an example of elasticity. Now, I'm giving you other example. Let us consider a spring of length with one end fixed rigidly to support. Now, a weight is hung from the lower end of the spring. Just imagine. The spring is found to stretch by a another length. The force applied by the load is transmitted to the support through the spring. Then, according to Newton's third law, the support in turn exerts an equal and opposite reaction on the spring. These two forces balance each other so that the spring does not move as a whole but gets elongated. Thus, there is relative displacement of the different portions of the spring. Thus, a system of balanced external force acting on a body produces relative displacement in different parts of the body and not the motion of the body as a whole. Such a force produces change in the size or shape of the body only, and on withdrawing the force, the body tries to regain to original size and shape. This general behavior of matter is called elasticity. So, thus you can say elasticity is the property by which a body is able to resist deformation either in shape or in volume or both, and recovers its original shape and volume when deforming force is removed in elasticity range. Nobody is found to be perfectly elastic. That is, it recovers its original shape completely on removal of the deforming force, however large it might be. But all bodies are found to behave as perfectly elastic within certain limit of the deforming force called elastic limit. That means within a limit, elastic limit, everybody will show their elasticity. But beyond that limit, that particular elasticity limit, it will again come back to its original position. Okay. So the next one, apart from elastic fatigue, some material will have change in their elastic property because of the following factors. These factors are effect of stress, effect of annealing, change in temperature, presence of impurities due to the nature of crystals. So, factor affecting elasticity. The material will have change in their elastic property because of the following factors. Mainly three factors are within this. I have described the five factors. The main factors are within this. Effect of stress. For large number of cycles of stresses, it loses its elastic property even within the elastic limit. Therefore, the working stress on the material should be kept lower then the ultimate tensile strength and the safety factor. Next, effect of annealing. Annealing is made to a material. It results in the formation of large crystal grains, which ultimately reduces the elastic property of the material. And the third one is effect of temperature. Normally, the elasticity increases with the decreasing temperature and vice versa. So, two examples also I have added. One is the elastic property of lead, that is lead metal, Pb, increases when the temperature is decreased. And the second one is the carbon filament becomes plastic at higher temperature. So you can say the elasticity of a material is affected by some factors. The factors are the elasticity of a material is increased on hammering and rolling. The elasticity of a material is decreased on annealing, that is the process of heating and cooling gradually. The elasticity of a material decreases with the increasing temperature and increases with decrease in temperature. The elasticity of a material increases or decreases on adding impurities to it, depending on the nature of the impurities. Next topic is stress and strain. Stress is the force applied to a material divided by the material's cross-sectional area. Sigma is equal to stress, Newton per meter square. Sigma is a Greek letter. That is Pascal. Newton per meter square means Pascal. F is equal to force, that is Newton. And A is equal to original cross-sectional area, expressed in meter square. So strain is the deformation or displacement of material that results from an applied stress. See the diagram. Stress by strain is equal to F by A divided by delta L divided by L0 is equal to Y. And diagram has also been given here also. Stress and strain has been shown clearly. So you can say whenever a deforming force is applied to a body, an internal reaction force is developed in it, which tends to resist the applied force and also to maintain the original shape and size of the body. The restoring force developed per unit area of the body is called stress. According to Newton's third law, the restoring force is equal and opposite to the applied force. So stress is measured by applied force per unit area of the body. Thus, stress is equal to, you can say, F by A means force applied on the body divided by area of cross section of the body. SI unit of stress is Newton per meter square and CGS unit is dyne per centimeter square. Strain is the ratio of the change in length, volume or shape to the original configuration. The strain, being the ratio of two similar quantities, is a pure number having no unit. Now, Hooke's law. Robert Hooke found from experimental observations that within elastic limit, the stress developed in a body is proportional to the strain produced in it. So Hooke's law is a law that states that the strain in a solid is proportional to the applied stress within the elastic limit of that particular solid. So Hooke's law gives the relationship between the force applied to an unstretched spring and the amount the spring is stretched. See the diagram. In first diagram, the spring is equilibrium length. It is in the state of equilibrium, that's why its length also in equilibrium. And then the second diagram, the stretched length of that particular spring has been shown. Now, Strain being a pure number, modulus of elasticity has the units as those of stress, that is Newton per meter square and dyne centimeter square in SI and CGS systems respectively. Modulus word I'll explain in the next slide. In a spring, rather you can say that in a spring, let weight W applies a pull F on the spring. That means force is equal to F and weight is equal to W on the spring, and the spring is elongated by length L, small l. It is found that L varies as F. That is, F is equal to K into L, where proportionality constant K is called force constant of the spring and is equal to force per unit elongation. It is a measure of the stiffness and is a constant for a particular spring. Its unit is Newton per meter in SI and dyne per centimeter in CGS systems. The force constant of a spring balance can be determined. Different loads W are hung from the hook of a spring balance and corresponding readings of the spring balance are recorded. It is found that K is equal to W by L always for every weight. So, the spring constant of the spring balance is determined. Now see the second diagram in the slide. F is equal to K into X. Here, force applied on the spring. K is equal to spring constant or proportionality constant, you can say, or force constant. And X is equal to extension of the spring. That means length or extension of the spring means the new length of the spring, or L or X, whatever you can take. So F is equal to K into X is the mathematical expression of Hooke's law. Modulus of elasticity. Modulus of elasticity is the ratio of the stress applied to a body or substance to the resulting strain within the elastic limit. It is also called elastic modulus. So according to Hooke's law, within elastic limit, stress and strain always will be there, or stress by strain is equal to a constant. This proportionality is called the modulus of elasticity of the material of the body and defined as stress developed per unit strain. Now, modification of Hooke's law for multi-axial stress in viscoelastic solids. As a result, the modified Hooke's law for multi-axial stress in viscoelastic materials has been formulated, which includes three material constants: Young modulus, Poisson's ratio, and coefficient of viscous damping of normal strain. I am just taking the names because the last two are not in your syllabus, that's why I am not explaining. But you should know the point. Now see the diagram. Here, strength, elastic range, stress, strain, that means modulus has been drawn, everything has been shown clearly. So here you can say that Thomas Young modified Hooke's law and is called modified Hooke's law. It is stated as within elastic limit, stress is proportional to strain. The proportionality constant being characteristic of the material of the body under stress. Thus, within elastic limit, stress varies as strain. See the graph. In a graphical representation only I have shown you. So, stress by strain is equal to a constant. This constant is called the elastic modulus of the material of the body and is defined as stress developed per unit strain. Its unit is Newton per meter square in SI and dyne per centimeter square in CGS system. There are different types of elastic modulus depending on the type of stress and corresponding strains. We are interested here only in longitudinal stress and corresponding strains. Longitudinal stress and strain. A longitudinal strain is defined as change in the length to the original length of an object. It is caused due to longitudinal stress and is denoted by the Greek letter epsilon. Epsilon. Pronunciation is like that. Okay? Like E, capital E. So longitudinal stress and strain, from the diagram you can say, for wires, rods and bars, there is a longitudinal stress F by A that produces a change in length per unit length. In such cases, stress is equal to F by A and strain is equal to delta L by L. So longitudinal stress of a bar or wire under tension or compression is the internal forces developed per unit cross-sectional area, as the magnitude of internal forces equals to that of external deforming forces F. Thus, longitudinal stress is equal to F by A. Longitudinal strain of a bar of wire under tension or compression is the change in length per unit length. So, if if L be the length of the bar or the wire and delta L be the elongation or compression of it, then we can say that longitudinal strain is equal to delta L by L. Now, Young's modulus. Young's modulus, that is E or Y, is a measure of a solid's stiffness or resistance to elastic deformation under load. It relates stress to strain along an axis or line. Young's modulus, that is equal to stress by strain, that is F by A. This is a specific form of Hooke's law of elasticity. The units of Young's modulus in the English system are pounds per square inch, that is PSI, and in the metric system, newtons per square meter, that is N by meter square. See the diagram. In a graphical representation, I have shown you stress and strain along y-axis and x-axis has been drawn. So Young modulus is equal to stress by strain. So we are getting the graph where ultimate strength is there. After that, a fracture sign is there. So Young's modulus of the material of a bar or wire under tension or compression is the ratio of the longitudinal stress to the longitudinal strain within elastic limit. It is usually denoted by Y. Thus, Y is equal to longitudinal stress by longitudinal strain, that is F by A divided by delta L by L. The unit of Y is Newton per meter square. Now, elasticity in our daily life. In our daily life, most of the materials we use undergo different types of stress. So, in designing a structure, proper consideration is given to possible stresses. Some of the examples I am discussing. First one, the metallic parts of machineries are so designed that they are not subjected to stress beyond elastic limit. Number two, in cranes used for lifting heavy loads, thick and strong metallic ropes are used, and thickness of these ropes are determined from the elastic limit of the material of the rope. Number three, the bridges are so designed that they do not bend much or break under its own weight or heavy load of the traffic. Number four, electric poles are made hollow instead of solid ones, as hollow shafts are stronger than solid ones. Number 5. Maximum height of a mountain on the earth can be estimated from the elastic behavior of the earth. Some examples I have discussed, some examples I have shown in the figure. You see, this is from our daily life. Hair scrunchies, elastic waistband, rubber band, resistance band, all are the examples of elasticity in daily life. Now, the last topic, behavior of materials beyond elastic limit. When a wire is stressed beyond elastic limit of the material of the wire, Hooke's law is no longer applicable to account for the elastic behavior of the material. The wire doesn't regain its original shape completely even after removal of stress, and the wire acquires a permanent shape. The solid behaves like a plastic body. So first is coming ductility. The materials which show large plastic range beyond elastic limit are called ductile material. Now, a wire of the material is found to undergo a relatively large strain with practically no increase of stress. At this stage, wires can be drawn from the rods of metals. This property of the materials are called ductility. Examples of ductile materials are copper, Cu, silver, Ag, iron, Fe, aluminium, Al, etc. So you can say ductility is when a solid material stretches under tensile strain. If ductile, a material may be stretched into a wire. See the example in the diagram. Steel is a ductile material. That means beyond its elastic limit, we can give shape of different types of glass of steel. That has been shown over here. Two types of glasses. Next one is brittleness. The solids which break soon after crossing the elastic limit are called brittle, and the property is called brittleness. Examples are glass, cast iron, etc. A material is brittle if, when subjected to stress, it breaks with little elastic deformation and without significant plastic deformation. Brittle materials absorb relatively little energy prior to fracture. Even those of high strength, breaking is often accompanied by a snapping sound. You can understand I have given the diagram. After brittleness, this type of the metal form, this type of material. Now the last one is malleability. If a solid is subjected to compression instead of tension, then also the body acquires a permanent set beyond the certain stage. This is the elastic limit for compression. Beyond this limit, the body behaves like a plastic body and the materials are called malleable. These materials can be hammered or rolled into sheets. Malleability is a physical property of metals that defines their ability to be hammered, pressed, or rolled into thin sheets without breaking. In other words, it is the property of a metal to deform under compression and take on a new shape. See the diagram. One example has been given. Malleability, that is metal hammered into thin sheets. As a gold is the most malleable metal. After hammering, it's forming a thin gold sheet. So this is an example of malleability. Thank you very much, student. For any doubts or queries, please email me at sudeshna1.sma@outlook.com. Even you need to mail your physical science assignment in this given email ID.